moja, macho mbele. Kumi na mbili, macho mbele.
Your Excellency, all those are your girls. Your Excellency, we would like to request you to accept some entertainment. As the entertainment groups prepare themselves, I would like to invite my colleague here to recognize the ambassadors and high commissioners and international organizations that are here present. I will also introduce Owektinisa Philip Katahoire, Minister for External Relations, Bunyoro-Kitara Kingdom, representing Omukama of Bunyoro-Kitara, Dr. Solomon Gafabusa Iguru Owokubanza. So my colleague will introduce to you the members of the diplomatic corps.
Your Excellency, sir, this is the list of ambassadors, high commissioners, and international organizations. Eritrean Ambassador, the Dean of Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Muhammad Suleiman Ahmed. From Tanzania, Turkey, Ethiopia, France, Belgium, the Royal Danish Embassy is also representing representative of the European Union. Embassy of Japan, Embassy of Saudi Arabia, the British High Commission, High Commission of the Republic of South Africa, the High Commission of Rwanda, High Commission of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Embassy of the Russian Federation, Embassy of the Democratic Republic of Algeria, Embassy of the Republic of Cuba, Embassy of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Embassy of the Republic of Equatorial Guinea, the High Commission of the Republic of Kenya, the resident coordinator of the resident coordinator of the United Nations System Operation Activities for Development, the United Nations Development Program, and United Nations Children Fund, and also the Food and Agriculture Organization.
Your Excellency, sir, now we proceed with cultural entertainment. We shall start with Fawe, the girls in danger, Kisule Nursery and Primary School, Bukoto. They have a poem.
Protocol observed. My name is Nakabgo Maria. I school at Kisule Nursery and Primary School, Bukoto. In Primary 6 class, We are here to present a poem entitled, Give Girls a Chance.
Defilement. What an abusive act you are. You make the girl child live in fear, limiting their right to movement. You are everywhere, in towns and villages, right and left, looking for me who is meant to be your child. How merciless you are. You make me mature before my time. I miss school, I miss playtime, I miss my friends. Oh, because I have to look after a pregnancy I have never agreed to having. I am left without an education. How heartless you are. I become a wife too soon. I become a mother who barely knows how to take care of the one I have given birth to. You move around scot-free as if nothing has happened, looking for another victim. You should be arrested so that other men learn a lesson. Shameless you are. Seeing me as a woman, what kind of man are you? Leaving all the single women to chase after a young girl. I need an education. My dream be a child. My time to be a woman will come for God and my future.
Your Excellency, that is a good message for the men. On stage now, Your Excellency, is Clever Origin with a song. Let's celebrate the Women's Day. Indeed, the Women's Day is worth celebrating. Sharon. Sharon? Sharon is 5 years old. Sharon, would you like to introduce yourself? Yes, please.
My name is Makwana. I'm 5 years old. I've come here to sing this song for the president.
Your Excellency, she has a keyboard which they are trying to organize.
Come.
Your Excellency, what more can we say? That's amazing. When you talk about securing our future, that is our future. And Your Excellency, even if you asked people of my age, even a little bit younger, it is so difficult to play a musical instrument while you are singing, but this one is incredible. Your Excellency, when we look at these little ones like this, can I give credit where credit is due? The credit goes to the Minister of Education and Sports, who is no other than our Mama. Mama Janet Museveni, the First Lady. Your Excellency, having been entertained by people like this one, I think it's now time to go into speeches. Your Excellency, please allow me to invite the chairperson of the National Women's Council. She's our pride. Your Excellency, the women councils are the empowerment tool that you introduced so that women can have their own leadership right from the grassroots to the national level. The chairperson of the National Women's Council is Hajat Farida Chiboa. Those women Your Excellency, we are all proud of her, because every woman 18 and above in Uganda is a member of the Women's Council from the grassroots. Therefore, she is our chairperson of all the women in Uganda.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and Mama, the First Lady of Uganda, Your Excellency, the Vice President, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the Deputy Chief Justice, the First National Vice Chairman of the NRM Party, the Right Honorable Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Ministers, the Right Honorable Secretary General of the ruling party, Honorable Cabinet Ministers and Ministers of State, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors and High Commissioners, Honorable Members of Parliament, Your Highnesses, the cultural leaders, religious leaders, Head of Civil Service, the RDCs, the chairpersons LC5, the local leaders, the national women leaders, and the district women council leaders with us here. Women leaders from the different political parties in Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, those with us here and those that are watching us on TV, I welcome you all to this important day to celebrate the International Women's Day here in Uganda and here in Kololo. Your Excellency, before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Farida Chivoa. I'm a Hajat, and I come from Kayunga district. Allow me to give an opportunity to the executive members of the National Women's Council to introduce themselves.
Thank you so much. Women oye! Women oye! My name is Masula Namatovu. I am the chairperson of Kamuli Women's Council and the national publicity for the National Women's Council. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Women oye! Wednesday oye! Thank you so much. I'm Aquinora Robina. I'm the chairperson of the Women's Council in the Kapiripiti district, and I'm also the national treasurer of all women in Uganda. Thank you. A women oye! A president oye! A Mama Janet oye! My name is Kichoncho Brenda from the National Youth Council, and I represent all young girls in this country on the executive of National Women Council. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the National Vice Chairperson of the Women's Council, Honorable Agnes Auma-Linda, is not here with us. We pray for her. Your Excellency, the National Women's Council and the women of Uganda are exceedingly delighted to welcome you as we join the rest of the world to celebrate this year's International Women's Day under the theme, Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. President, for always putting time, despite your busy schedule, to celebrate with us this important day in our lives. We congratulate everyone, especially the women, upon reaching this year's International Women's Day, and thank God for keeping us all safe amid this COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, today we take stock of the different commitments and initiatives that the country has put in place in promotion of gender equality and women's empowerment. We are indeed grateful to you, Mr. President, who has been our male champion in this era that has put women forth, created a peaceful environment, and that has enabled women to prosper in this country, Uganda. Your Excellency, we want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for the confidence you have put in us. This has been exhibited through the appointment of more women in 2 different key decision-making positions in Uganda. We are delighted the women increase to 36 women in cabinet today is not a mean achievement. We are delighted by the well-deserved appointment of the Vice President, Honorable Jessica Lupo, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Mama Nabanja, and the first female Prime Minister of Uganda, in the history of Uganda. The Prime Ministers, the female cabinet ministers, to begin with, Mama Janet, the Minister of Education, the East African Affairs Minister, Mama Waife Aditwala Rebecca Kadaga, the ministers in the office of the Prime Minister, the Minister of Energy, the Minister of Lands, our line Minister, the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Minister of Presidency, Health, Kampala, Science and Technology, and many more state ministers. Your Excellency, we want to thank you for the appointment of many leaders in key decision-making positions,
As Women's Council, we particularly want to thank you for the appointment of one of us on the executive, Honorable Asamo Helen, as the Minister for Disability. We thank you so much, Mr. President. I wish to applaud the members of Parliament, the 11th Parliament, for overwhelmingly voting the Right Honorable Anita Mong as the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda. Your Excellency, this year's theme, Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, recognizes the contribution of women and girls around the world who are leading the charge on climate change, adaptation, mitigation, and response to build a more sustainable future for all. Climate change impacts on all people. However, systematic gender discrimination at all levels creates situations in which men and women experience climate risks differently. As gender inequalities persist around societies, women and girls' capacity to make appropriate decisions and adapt to changes in climate are limited, yet they are more vulnerable to extreme climate changes. With climate change, Mr. President, water is becoming scarce, and many women and girls walk long distances looking for water and firewood. This has not only reduced their time to engage in productive activities, but also exposed young women to risk of sexual abuse that has led to early marriages and unwanted pregnancies. Mr. President, on top of increased extension of affordable piped water to rural areas, we request that strategic support with rainwater harvesting systems be considered for the needy female-headed households, households of women with disabilities, and elderly. Further, Your Excellency, the women leaders request that targeted programs for skilling women in smart agriculture and other environmental protection initiatives be prioritized. As government rolls out different agro-based initiatives, there is need to equip women who are the minority in the agriculture sector with skills in smart agriculture, value addition, land use of increased productivity, and affordable energy-saving technologies. Women that eventually come up with initiatives to protect the environment should be supported and appreciated for their efforts. The way forest covers and wetlands will be protected. Your Excellency, we wish to thank the Minister of Education and Sports under the able leadership of Mama Janet Kataham 7 for giving a second chance education for our young girls that became victims of COVID-19. We are confident that by allowing these girls that unfortunately got pregnant during the COVID-19 pandemic, we'll give them a chance to recover and refocus on bigger, brighter, and better tomorrow. We call upon the parents, community leaders, especially women leaders, and the schools to also offer a second chance and safe environment for the girls that could have become victims of this unfortunate period of the pandemic. Thank you, Mama. Thank you so much. We can't thank you enough. We applaud the government under your leadership for coming up with the parish development model strategy, which aims at improving household income. Thank you once again for involving the women council leaders, the chairperson of the parish on the parish executive committee, but also for a 30% reserve for women under this model. We pledge to mobilize all women of Uganda to support this effort and ensure its objectives are fully achieved. Mr. President, as we roll out the parish development model, the benefits of Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program should not be forgotten. And if possible, let WEP be retained. According to WEP Reports 2021, over 15,000 groups and over 18,000 women benefited from this program. We recommend that graduates of WEP should be identified and integrated as mentors of fellow women beneficiaries of parish development model. Your Excellency, yesterday 7th, we held our annual council meeting. We want to thank the Prime Minister who came and stayed with us and gave us words of encouragement. We want to thank our ministers. They were there with us. Honorable Mtuzo was there with us, and we appreciate. But of course, allow me to present to you the key recommendations of the 4th Annual Council Women's Conference, which was held yesterday, 7th. The Women's Council leaders in that meeting, and they are here with us today, recommended that. We thank you, first of all, for being the best leader who has navigated this country through the COVID-19 pandemic period. Thank you so much. They recommended that the Women Council should not be merged with other councils due to its unique mandate to effectively mobilize and implement the various government programs for women economic empowerment. Your Excellency, the women also recommended that since the current parish women council leaders have been trained and are already deeply involved in the implementation of the parish development model, it is important to allow them uninterrupted time to effectively play the role in the implementation of this model. Women leaders still recommended that that they want to at least accept and meet with you even today before they travel back to their respective districts to discuss other pertinent issues concerning mobilization and empowerment of women of Uganda. Your Excellency, the women recommended that we present to you a gift at an appropriate time, if you allow. Your Excellency, last but not the least recommendation is that they resolved to acknowledge and appreciate the role of a great mother, the late Mama Kokundeka Esther, for giving birth and nurturing and raising a great man today called His Excellency Kaguta Museveni. Mr. President, the Women Council wish to thank you for your support always. Your words of guidance, wisdom, and financial support have made us shine and strong. Through your guidance, we were able to develop a training manual for women leaders that promote gender equality and women's empowerment. This manual comprehensively covers different modules of mobilization, socio-economic empowerment of women, different government programs, early childhood development, gender-based violence, gender policies and laws, effective leadership, communication skills, lobbying and advocacy, but putting emphasis on family and child protection. As I conclude, the National Women's Council well-spread structure that runs from the village to the national level presents the most effective way to reach out to the grassroots women and their entire households across the country. I wish to take this opportunity to call upon all government ministries, departments, NGOs, local governments and development partners to utilize this channel for proper implementation of development programs that are of benefit to the ordinary woman. To the women leaders and women of Uganda, it's time to walk the talk. All women everywhere, stand up and embrace your roles today for us to have a sustainable tomorrow. Let us protect and preserve the environment. Let us nurture and raise our children in a way that can guarantee a sustainable tomorrow. Let us embrace education for us all and our children. Let us work hard to defeat poverty. Finally, we strongly appreciate our line minister, Honorable Betty Amongi, the sector minister, Honorable Peace Mutuzo, the permanent secretary, Mr. David Chibenge, the technical team of the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, and National Women's Council Secretariat for the continued support. UN Women, we cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. Our esteemed development partners, the district local governments, women council leaders from the village to national level, stakeholders, and every one of you who have supported us all these years, and for your contribution towards women empowerment in Uganda. Your Excellency, as women of Uganda, we appreciate you for the peace, security, and stability in Uganda. Thank you so much for gracing this important day for God and my country.
Your Excellency, President Museveni, Vice President, Prime Minister, Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Ministers and Members of Parliament, UN Resident Coordinator, Honourable Ambassadors and High Commissioners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As Danish Ambassador to Uganda, it is with great honour that I make this statement today on behalf of the Gender Development Partners Group, the EU delegation and EU member states in Uganda. This year's theme, Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, brings together into perspective two of the greatest challenges of our time: gender inequality and the crisis of climate change. Climate change is a global challenge, but its impacts are mostly felt at the local level. Here, women and girls increasingly suffer more from the impacts of climate change. They do so because they are the most dependent on natural resources. This high dependency on natural resources makes women and girls more vulnerable to poverty, food insecurity, and domestic violence. This in turn means that their lives, their families, and their livelihoods are at greater risk. The effects of climate change, such as land degradation, deforestation, and drought, this is because they are the ones that have to move further and further from their homes to locate water, firewood, and other resources. Many women and girls suffer from being attacked on the long walks to get the resources that their families depend on. According to Uganda's third National Development Plan, up to 77% of persons engaged in the agricultural sector in Uganda are women. Out of them, 62% are youth. Their dependence on this sector has implications for Uganda's overall economic development and its goal of reaching a middle-income status. Regrettably, many women are still marginalized in skills development, access to financial resources, and access to non-agricultural employment and inheritance rights. We therefore cannot discuss climate change without recognizing the need for accelerated advancement of gender equality and women's empowerment. As women and girls bear the burden of climate impacts, they are equally essential in leading and driving change in climate adaptation, mitigation, and solutions. Without the inclusion of half of the world's population, it is unlikely that solutions for a sustainable planet will be realized. As with most things in this world, we need, and in my personal opinion, as a man, husband, and father of two daughters, the knowledgeable, intelligent, and talented women when we look for the solutions to solve the problems of today and those of tomorrow. Your Excellency, Mr. President, we commend Uganda's efforts in creating good policy and legal frameworks for gender equality and climate change. We commend the several affirmative actions to bridge gender gaps and the inclusion of women in high positions, including in your cabinet. We advocate for meaningful and active engagement of women who are in leadership in enhancing gender equality. We encourage more economic empowerment programs for women both in the formal and in the informal sector. This includes investment in climate-smart agriculture initiatives for women in agriculture and further protection of women's property and land rights. As development partners to Uganda, we commit our continuous support towards the advancement of women and girls' inclusion in climate change adaptation, mitigation, and response to build a more sustainable future for us all. I would like to close my statement with a recent quote by Vanessa Nakate, a key Ugandan voice to the discussion on gender and climate change globally. She says, "We can't have climate justice without poverty eradication. We can't have climate justice without achieving zero hunger, and we can't have climate justice without gender equality." As we celebrate this International Women's Day, we also remember the victims the women victims around the world, from Africa to today also Europe, that are victims of armed conflict. Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. President. I wish us all a continued great International Women's Day. Thank you.
Your Excellency, at this juncture, the Assistant Directors of Ceremonies are handing over to the Director of Ceremonies to take over the remaining part of the program. That is Honorable Mutuzo Peace Regis, the Minister of State for Gender and Culture Affairs in the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable First Lady, Mama Janet Kataha Museveni, Your Excellency, the Vice President, retired Jessica Alupo, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Your Lordship, the Chief Justice, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Right Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, the Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement, the Leader of Opposition in Parliament, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Your Highnesses, the traditional and cultural leaders, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors and High Commissioners, religious and cultural leaders, all women and girls of Uganda, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor and privilege, Your Excellency, to welcome you all to this important occasion as Uganda joins the rest of the world to celebrate the International Women's Day 2020. I am pleased to see you all, our guests, from Uganda and beyond, as well as those who are on air and through other media channels, to this occasion as we celebrate the International Women's Day. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the people of Uganda and the people specifically of Kampala, where we are right now, we are happy to receive you and host you under this beautiful, hospitable scenery and place at Kololo Airstrip. You are most welcome, and please feel at home. As the Director of Ceremonies, I have been supported by my two assistants, Mrs. Alice Mbwanguzi, a mother, a cadre, a teacher, a professional, and she has been always there for us on every event and occasion. And she has done this job thoroughly well. A big hand of applause, if you don't mind. Claire Navaka, Assistant Superintendent of Police, was supposed to be with us, but for some reasons could not make it. But we have another director, Major Flavia Teri Burundi. But she's very Burundi as we celebrate this International Women's Day. She has been our assistant director, very eloquent, moderator, and since we are assembled here this morning, we have been really entertained and we are blessed to have them. Allow me to recognize the presence of other distinguished dignitaries who are here with us, hadn't been recognized, and were reserved for me to do the job. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the First Lady and Mama, Minister of Education, who is holding 15 million children in schools safe for 2 solid months. No issues at all. We want to thank you so much for the effort you have put in place. Mama, we can't thank you enough for the work you are doing. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of our own, the Vice President, retired General Jessica Alupo, retired Major Jessica Alupo. I beg your pardon. Maybe I wish you luck. Thank you so much for being with us and for always being there for us as women. I want also to recognize the presence of the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among. Thank you for steering Parliament articulately well. I want to recognize the presence of the Right Honorable Robina Nabanja Majegere, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda and Head of Government Business. Thank you for being around and everywhere every day. At least we are able to see and notice what you are doing. Thank you for representing women very, very well. I want to recognize the presence of our own, the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga Aritwara. Mama, we were I was talking about the day. She's also the Minister of East African Community Affairs. The Right Honorable Moses Ali, the Second Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, is also here with us and has never failed to attend any Women's International Day celebrations, and we can't take it for granted. The Right Honorable Lukia Isanga Nakadama, the Third Deputy Prime Minister and Minister without portfolio. Honorable Mire Babalanda, the Minister of Presidency. Thank you very much for joining us every time. Honorable Jim Muhezi, Minister of Internal Security, is also here with us. Issa Baruri is here in person. Please stand up for recognition. Issa Baruri. Over here, thank you so much for joining us. Kamswaga Wakochi. Na yetu ritumide mwana yetu kide. Wewe nyo kuja. Thank you so much for coming. We have Honorable Queen Grace Freedom, Minister of State for Northern Uganda. Thank you for coming. Honorable Diana Mutasugwa Kajenyi, Minister of State for Vice Presidency. Thank you for coming, and Member of Parliament Wikwe. Honorable David Bahati, State Minister of Trade and Industry, Member of Parliament Norwa West. Honorable Jennifer Namyangu, Minister of State for Munyoro Affairs. era ayambadde ng'Abanyoro. Webale kuyita mwana wa Mao. Mugasa Grace Mary, Minister of State for Public Service. Honorable Harriet Ntabazi, Minister of State for Trade. Honorable Mr. Kavanda, Minister of Kampala Capital City, where we are. Kampala City Authority, where we are. Thank you for hosting us. Honorable Judith Nabakova, in charge of lands, all the lands of Uganda. Look for Judith Nabakova. She's available. Honorable Helen Asamo, Minister of State for Disability, who is also part of the Women Council. That's why you see the Women Council cheering. Honorable Musanero Monica, Minister of Science and Technology and Innovations. Honorable Chris Variomunsi, Minister of ICT, is here with us, the tallest man around. Honorable Helen Andewa, Minister of State for Fisheries in the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. Honorable Hood Aleru, Minister of State for Veteran Affairs. Honorable Goret Chitutu, Minister for Karamoja Affairs. Honorable Agnes Nandutu for State Minister Karamoja Affairs. Honorable Matia Kaseija, in charge of money, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Honorable Kasure Lumumba, Minister in charge of general duties. You are most welcome. You are so smart. Honorable Vincent Sempija is also with us, Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs. Honorable Jane Acheng, Minister of Health. Mama COVID eradication. Honorable Victoria Rusoke, Minister of State for Local Government, is here with us. I can see many more ministers. The story might go on, but let me conclude with Honorable Sarah Mateche, since she's in the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, in charge of Youth and Children Affairs. Honorable colleagues, if you are here, stand up for recognition. Wherever you are located, please stand up for recognition. The list is getting longer, and I don't want to spend more time. The chairperson of the Gender Committee, Honorable Flavia Wabhoro, and the Gender Committee has been with us always in every event and activities. Colleague members of Parliament, please rise up for recognition, I beg you. We are about 400 and I cannot mention everybody's name. Kindly allowed to stand up for recognition. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize permanent secretaries who have stood with us this long journey. And a number of them are females. And we really appreciate that out of 34, you have appointed 17 female permanent secretaries and 19 male permanent secretaries. The board is clearly balancing. Madame Lucena Chove, Head of Public Service. Catherine Musingwire Birakwate, Permanent Secretary in Public Service. Edith Mwanje, Permanent Secretary, East African Affairs. Irene Bantevia, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources. Teopista Wenene, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health and Health Service Commissions. Dr. Asman Lukwago, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and the Service Commission. Geraldine Sari, Permanent Secretary, Trade, Industry and Cooperation. And our own Agure Chivenge, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development. Your Excellency, Lieutenant Kevin Kutesa, Director of Music. We thank you so much, the marching band. Thank you so much for entertaining us with very good music. And the parade commander, Lieutenant Colonel Susan Lacote. And the parade 2IC, Major Juliet Atgonza. Parade Adjutant, Major Winfred Ntambi. You can look at the line of women that we are reading, and we are doing it deliberately to inspire and encourage them, but also thank them for taking a very hard decision or good decision to join the forces and protect the country. The Kala Party Commander, Captain Mamvule Bisu, and Captain Ntono Olivia. Ladies, put your hands up together to thank the ladies who are in charge of the party, of the Kala Party. Your Excellency, we have a message from Pan-African Women Organization, which I would want to read briefly. And here it goes. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, sisters in the women movement fraternity, it is with great pleasure and opportunity that I write and second this message to congratulate you for getting into the 60th anniversary for International Women's Day. A pleasure because we celebrate a gift of life and thank God for seeing us through COVID-19 pandemic. By God's mercy, many of us, our own, did not make it. May their souls rest in eternal peace. For the benefit of those who do not know about Pan-African Women Organization, its background, it was launched in 1962 in Tanzania. The then Tanganyika was a revolutionary movement of the Pan-African Women Organization, different regions, which came together to fight for independence, to decolonize and the continent, and get freedom of the African people wherever they were. Hence, they joined the militarized institutions and struggled for the liberation of Africa. We also believe that there is a direct need to militarize the process as we implement government services, pursue regional integration, and protect the African continent. It goes on to say, Pan-African Women Organization is a specialized agency of the African Union, and they pick all the slogans and help and send out support and messages to popularize the agenda as we implement government services under the African Union Agenda 2063 with relevant themes and agendas. The author of this message continues to state that in unity in the diaspora, we look at the lineup of women in the leadership and in the decision-making positions that His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has put up in Uganda, and he becomes a cornerstone for other leaders to learn to entrust women in leadership so as to achieve this theme of equality now for tomorrow's sustainability. We look at the enabling of women in finance from the grassroots level, and they would want to benchmark on the parish development model. How can we ever thank you enough? We pledge and work with you, push for the implementation of government programs as we struggle for sustainability. Hongera, Mama wa Afrika, hongera akina raia wa Afrika, hongera rais wetu Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Signed by Her Excellency Imping Eunice, the President of Pan-African Women Organization, who sits in South Africa, and it was delivered by Honorable Kabayo Grace, the Secretary General, Pan-African Women Organization, and she is, let her stand for recognition. We have enjoyed the excellent performances from several groups which have entertained us since we arrived here, and I wish to commend them for showing case our diverse and rich cultural heritage. Your Excellency, the women of Uganda would like to thank you and thank the NRM government for prioritizing interventions and promoting gender equality and allowing women empowerment fully, not just by words, but you have been there to ensure that this agenda is implemented to the letter. We celebrate your strong leadership that has made it possible for majority of Ugandans to survive COVID-19 pandemic and for opening up the economy. Our presence in Kololo ceremonial grounds is celebrate these gains and call for deliberate action for stakeholders to accelerate greater gender equality and women's empowerment. Allow me, Your Excellency, to recognize our partners who have supported us as we celebrate these International Women's Day celebrations. We have celebrated it in Swahili, Your Excellency, in small groupings, and we started with a number of precursor events. But our strong partners who supported government in achieving this were UNDP, UN Women, Care International, Enable Uganda, and the UN Resident Coordinator's Office. We want to thank the marching band for the job well done. We want to thank the media fraternity for telecasting us live. We want to thank the entertainment groups for the job well done, including the little baby, 5 years old. What a training. We want to thank the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, the National Organizing Committee, KCCA, for the work well done. We want to thank the Women Council. And I want every Women Council member to stand up for recognition. Wherever you are located, please stand up for recognition. Your Excellency, the Women Council over there, we held a long meeting yesterday. And they said, the president we know is our own. We pray for this appointment so that we discuss many details of the developments of that meeting. And with the assurance that we shall have an appointment with you, that's why the chairperson's speech was cut short. Otherwise, the 2 years spell of time without meeting you, Your Excellency, a lot has happened, and they would wish to share and interact with you as the father and the one who they believe in solving every issue that they have heard for quite a long time. They also have a gift for you, Your Excellency. But not all of them can come to deliver it, but they will remain standing where they are located as the chairperson of the Women Council presents the gift. Chairperson of the Women Council, the Executive Secretary of the Women Council, Mr. Colin Mwizuche, presents the gift. The executive members of the Women Council, please. If it is not ready, we shall move on. When women are happy, they dance. Even when they're sad, they dance to communicate. And you can see even the other standing the other side of the pavilion. Your Excellency, the women the other side in the pavilion are waving at you. You may wish to wave back to them so that they are happy. Those are women from Kampala specifically, and some other places in this country who came to welcome Your Excellency. If the gift is not here, I will request that the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development comes. I would request that, is the gift around? Yes, Your Excellency, the gift is around. We request that you accept it on behalf of the women. And if somebody can play us a traditional dance over there, the women there would not mind break dancing as they celebrate the achievement they have made. Thank you, Mama, for joining His Excellency the President in receiving the gift. Please provide sufficient space as you hand over the gift and the photo session. Thank you, Women Council. Thank you, Women Council. Please sit down. Music, stop. Thank you, ladies, for dancing. UN country coordinator, our sincere apologies to the UN country coordinator for the technology failure of the microphone you first used. It was not intended. We beg for an apology. We apologize. I want to take this opportunity to welcome and invite the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Honorable our very own, Honorable Ongom. I hadn't recognized the presence of Honorable Evelyn Anite and Honorable Esther Anyakun and Honorable Lillian Akelo Rose. Thank you all for coming. Honorable Betty Ongom Amongi, I invite you now to deliver your remarks and invite the President to speak to us. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda and the Honorable First Lady Mama Janet, the Vice President, Lordship the Chief Justice, Honorable Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Ministers, the Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement, the Leader of Opposition, Honorable Ministers, Members of Parliament, cultural leaders, ambassadors, high commissioners, the National Women Council who are here represented in the big numbers, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take this singular honor to welcome you, Your Excellency, and Mama, and all distinguished guests for this International Women's Day celebration. And I thank those who participated in organizing the event.
Your Excellency, today, Uganda is joining the global community in celebrating this day, which emanated from international conventions and instruments. Key among them is the SDG 5. Key among them is also the 1995 Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the Convention on the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women, which Uganda ratified in 1985, the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security, which was passed in 2000. At the African level, Uganda has domesticated the African Union Solemn Declaration, the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, commonly known as the Maputo Protocol, and domesticated all the international instruments into our legal instruments, starting with the 1995 Constitution, which reserved at least 1/3 of representation of women in leadership positions. That's why today we are celebrating representation of women in Parliament and in the National Council because of that constitutional provision. We thank the framers of the 1995 Constitution, those who worked day and night tirelessly, the women who paved the way to entrench the provision in the Constitution through which we are beneficiaries today. We have the 3rd National Development Plan, Equal Opportunities Commission Act, Vision 2040, Public Finance and Management Act, Gender Policy, and other legal instruments. These are instruments that guide us in the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development to hold accountable all the MDAs and private sector to ensure that gender equality and women's empowerment are embedded in all the institutions and structure. Your Excellency, Uganda in 1984 recognized International Women's Day as a national day and gazetted it subsequently. And when we commemorate, many people keep asking you women, but why do you celebrate this day? We celebrate this day to come together to take stock of our achievements. And already those who have spoken here have indicated the achievements we have so far attained. That is one of the reasons that we must celebrate the achievements. We also celebrate these days to reflect on what actions are required to be taken to close the gap. We know there are still gaps that are there, and so coming together allow us to build consensus and engage. It's a day of reflection on the women's agenda, and in Uganda we have collectively over the last few days sat together, strategized, and Your Excellency, I want to say there are activities that have been held prior to this day. I want to highlight a few of them. The first one, the national campaign on ending teenage pregnancy and child marriage, led by the First Lady, the Minister of Education and Sports, the VP, and the Prime Minister. I want to congratulate the 3 teams that has led and continue to lead this campaign for teenage pregnancy. The second has been the launch of the National Women's Leaders Forum, which was convened on 3rd of March, which brought together women ministers, permanent secretaries, women parliamentarians, civil society, and donors. We strategized and we came with key resolution that should define what we are going to do in the next remaining 4 years of the NRM government. The commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the establishment of the School of Women and Gender Studies at Makerere University.
Makerere University Gender School commemorated its 30 years of existence this year with a very powerful international conference and defined for us the key issues that we need to underline in the academic field. The convening of the high-level donor roundtable meeting with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development and development partners, the UN and others who are here, and they have made commitment on financing some of the gender equality and women's empowerment program. The National Women Council Annual General Meeting, which took place yesterday on 7th March 2022, and Your Excellency, yesterday in the Cabinet, I did pass to you the request which the Women Council who were meeting had given to me, and I'm hoping that with the request which they have again indicated, that you will be able to meet with them. Your Excellency, there was also the groundbreaking ceremony for the Imara Women's Center, organized by the Forum for Women in Democracy, which also took place on 7th March. It's a civil society initiative to build a one-stop center for women's issues and other activities of women. Your Excellency, people have already congratulated you. They have thanked you for appointment of the women in different positions. But I cannot, as the Minister of Gender, leave that achievement not mentioned. Your Excellency, this is the first Women's Day we are celebrating after you formed government. And in the formation of government, Your Excellency, you gave us key strategic positions. When we talk about the positions, sometimes you might think it's just numbers. And Your Excellency, I want to request the women who are here, the Women Council, that I am going to ask them to thank you in a special way as I mention the women who have been appointed. Because the numbers are there, but the people who are in those positions are here with you today. I want to start from the land of Teso. The Vice President, Jessica Lupo, together with Honorable Samo and the Minister of State for Fisheries. That is all the way from the land of Imorimo. I go to the land of Ankole. Ankole, you have given us the powerful Minister of Education, Sports, and our First Lady. Where are the women of Ankole here? From the land of Bunyoro. Are the women of Bunyoro here? Are you here? From the land of Bunyoro, I present the Right Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of State for Public Service. There are two of them in that tent, the Prime Minister and the Minister of State for Public Service. From the land of Busoga. Are you there, Busoga? I present to you two Deputy Prime Ministers. Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, First Deputy Prime Minister, Third Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for General Duties. I present the Minister for Presidency, standing here, and the Minister of State for Housing. She's not here. From the land of Toro. She has got up from the land of Toro. I present Honorable Victoria and Honorable Peace Mutuzu, the two women. From the land of Kigezi, I present the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs. She's there in the tent. From the land of Lango, I present the Honorable Minister of Health and myself, the Honorable Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development. From the land of Bukedi, the Minister of Science and Technology and Bunyora Affairs. They are there in the tent. From the land of Uganda, where we are, I present to you the Minister of Energy, the Minister of Lands, the Minister of Kampala, the Minister in Office of the Vice President. They are all there. Rwenzori. The Greater Rwenzori, I have the Minister of State for Trade, Honorable Harriet Ntabazi. And Margaret Muhanga for Toro, she's not here. West Nile, I see Honorable Grace Kuichin. I see the one of investment who is always everywhere, Honorable Anita Evelyn. And the Minister of State for Primary Education, Honorable Kaduchu, she's not here. From the land of Acholi, are you there? We have the Minister of State for Environment, commonly known as Mama what? Mama Mavira. From the land of Bugiso, the Minister of Karamoja Affairs and the Minister of State for Karamoja Affairs, they are all there. Thank you very much. Karamoja, I see Karamoja there. Ethics and Integrity, Refugee Honorable Nyakun. You see, these people, when you call there, you know where they are. I think those are the ones I have. Have I forgotten any? Oh, that one I've already introduced. Bugiso. Yes, I said the Minister of Karamoja and State for Karamoja. Nandutu, they want to see you. Can you get up? There she is. So, Your Excellency, I just want to let you know that with that, we now have 44% of cabinet, members of cabinet are women, 44%. So we are almost there. We are almost reaching parity. Parliament, we have 35%, and permanent secretaries were already introduced, but in a special way, we want to thank you, Your Excellency, for aid of public service. Aid of service, who is a woman, Madame Nachobe, thank you very much. Your Excellency, I want to give a message from the Right Honorable Prime Minister. I had requested her to come and give it herself, but she said because of time, I should give it on her behalf. Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister has requested that I should assure you that the women you have appointed under her leadership as the leader of government business, that I assure you that under her leadership, she will not allow them to shame you. Number two, that she will not allow women to disappoint you. Number three, that she will make sure that women and the rest of the cabinet ministers, permanent secretaries, use the position you have given them to serve the people of Uganda. And lastly, that I say this 3 times, that the women of Uganda will support you,
will support you. As I conclude, Your Excellency, I want to thank you for being a good example to the women and the men out there on how to treat women. Although we still have challenges of cultural norms about women and girls, you have come out to support from your own self the girl child in your homestead, where Ugandans know you as Papa Natasha. That has given a signal to the men out there that you treat a girl child with decency, you treat a girl child the same way you give the opportunity to a boy child. That is changing the mindset of the people of Uganda. We want to thank you, Your Excellency. We want to thank you for promoting economic empowerment of women through all the programs, and as a ministry, we will continue to work on promoting women's economic empowerment. And the 5 key issues that women resolve is that in this remaining 4 years, women must, number 1, focus on economic empowerment of the fellow women. That is number what? Number 1 agenda. And that through parish development model, through EMIOGA, through the stimulus fund under Ministry of Finance, under the various bank products. We must focus on mobilizing women, making them benefit economically to uplift themselves. Number 2, that we should support and rally behind the campaign initiated by the First Lady on ending child marriages and teenage pregnancy, that we must promote that. Number 3, that we must work together as a network, together with members of parliament, to undertake policy and legal reforms that should facilitate women to increase access to credit, land, and ensure that we sustainably use environment in a proper way as being advocated by you, Your Excellency. That we must undertake capacity building for women leaders to enhance their leadership skills, and lastly, to strengthen the women's movement to advocate for gender equality. So, Your Excellency, I want to conclude by saying that when we come here to ask that we require gender equality and women's empowerment, we are not coming to ask that we want to compete with men. No. What we are asking is that give women and girls equal opportunities. That is it. Not to compete with men, but we want equal opportunities. Number 2, we want to join the table, because it is on that table where decisions are made. Let our perspective be reflected on that table. And that we want access to justice for women whose rights are being abused through all the related human rights and women's rights abuse, like defilement, violence against women, and all that. So we need partnership with men. We will continue to work together as a country to make sure that we move the agenda of women together. I want to thank you, Your Excellency. I want to thank you for the achievement, congratulate you and the women of Uganda and the people of Uganda for the achievement we have had under your able leadership as our president over the last years. I thank you, Your Excellency. Now, women, I'm supposed to invite the president. Yoleng! 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 Amiti yo kong bebe leng, Vice President kong bini ye uno. Call Vice President. Yoleng! Now I have sold the rest of the women, but I have not sold His Excellency, because His Excellency knows the language. Now these women of Yoleng have
asked and requested and allowed that it is unbecoming for me to invite you when we have a woman vice president here. Do you, the rest of the women, do you agree with that? I want to really request you, Your Excellency, to allow me not to be the one to invite you, since we have the one you've given us as your vice. Let her come, say something, and invite you. Your Vice President, Your Excellency, please. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and Mama Janet, the First Lady, and the Minister of Education and Sports, Your Lordship Richard Butera, the Deputy Chief Justice of Uganda, the Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Uganda, and the Deputy Prime Ministers, colleagues, ministers, colleagues, members of Parliament, the First National Vice Chairperson of NRM, Alhaji Moses Chigongo, and the entire NRM fraternity. I recognize the NRM Secretary General, Excellencies, the ambassadors and heads of missions, development partners, head of service and senior government officials, religious leaders, cultural leaders, all the girls and women of Uganda, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, my task is very simple, to invite you to speak. But I would like to thank the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development for her kind gesture to invite me to say a simple thing, and then I invite you to speak. I would like, Your Excellency, to thank you as the NRM chairman, together with all the senior leaders of NRM, for the insight you had when you named the special interest groups, which include the youth, the people with disabilities, the entrepreneurs, the veterans, the other ones, the elderly, and most importantly, Your Excellency, you included the women among the 6 special interest groups which you identified when you were making the NRM constitution. Your Excellency, we don't take that for granted, and that teaches us as women that we shall always work with those groups in their special categories, but also in their respective genders. Secondly, Your Excellency, let me also appreciate you for all the leadership positions which you have bestowed upon us as women, from the grassroots level, local government level, national level, even foreign missions. As women, Your Excellency, we take those responsibilities with humility, and we are very mindful that they come with challenges, but also with opportunities. We would like to
assure you, sir, that as women, we shall strive to overcome the challenges and strive to make sure that we use those opportunities for the betterment of the livelihoods of our people across the country. Your Excellency, we know that you have walked a very long journey in the transformation process of our country, and you are still walking that journey. As it has been said already, I would like to pledge on behalf of all the women that we shall continue walking this journey with you as we have done before. And in our respective offices, we shall always be conscious about the strong pillars, including nationalism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy during the discharge of our duties. Your Excellency, with these few remarks, I would like to invite you to speak to us and the rest of the country. I invite you to speak, sir.
Her Excellency the Vice President, His Lordship the Deputy Chief Justice, Right Honorable Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Ministers, the NRM Vice Chairman, Secretary General, Ministers, cultural leaders, honorable members of Parliament, Chairperson of the Women Councils, Their Excellency, the members of the Diplomat Corps, Army officers and officers of the security forces, all ladies and gentlemen who are here and those who are listening on the radio, on the media. First of all, I congratulate Ugandans and especially the women for coming up to this day of the Women's Day of 2022, having gone through the corona pandemic. Mukurukeyo akawuka banange the position of the there is a big statement which they prepared of 13 pages. But if I try to read it, it will kill you. You will die here. Ate sagala kutta abantu n'okwogera. I would therefore get the staff to distribute that speech and put it in the media, and then I'll just give a summary. Now the summary goes as follows. Number one is that the NRM position, right from the beginning, looks at the whole society. We aim to transform the whole of society. The problem of Africa is that we delayed in socio-economic transformation. Africa is the source of all human beings. All human beings started here. Even those whites you see, they were all former Africans. However, in the last 600 years, Africa has lagged behind in the process of socio-economic transformation. Society to become new. In Europe, they have now a middle class, skilled working class society. While here, we have some little middle class, but we also have a big group of what we call the people who have not understood the modern concept of money economy. That's why we talk of the Abakora Chida Kyonka. Teach me each keken. Those are people who are not aware that in order to have a modern and better life, you must be part of the money economy. So therefore, the overall plan of the NRM from the very beginning was transform the whole of society. Because you cannot talk of women empowerment in a stagnant society. If the society does not transition, then there is no way the marginalized groups will be transformed themselves. So therefore, in our effort of socio-economic transformation, we use a number of stimuli from the very beginning. It is a multifaceted program. It's not one item, it's not one stimulus. It is a number of them. The first one is a strong security apparatus which can maintain peace in the country. And that's why I'm very glad that our girls are part of that structure as you see them here. You hear of the insecurity in many parts of Africa today. I am not surprised by that insecurity because some of our brothers and sisters looked at it in a different way. When we were in the student movement in the 1960s, we had differences with some of our colleagues. And what the Vice President said, those principles she mentioned, patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. We are very crucial. If you don't get them, it's not easy for you to build a capable security apparatus. So that is element number one. Because of security, people are not running around. We no longer have refugees coming from Uganda going to other countries. We no longer have internally displaced people. Even when there are insecurity problems, they can be handled because we have the capacity. And because of that, people are in their homes or in schools or wherever they are supposed to be. And the economy is growing. So that is element number one, security. Number two, health. The society must be healthy, including the women. You take a small element like immunization. Immunization has changed the nature of our society. We have gone from 14 million people in 1986 to now 43 million people in just 30 years. Why was the population not increasing in the past? Because of health problems. Like when I look at the health statistics which are in that speech, you find that maternal mortality, mothers who are giving birth, in 2011 was 438 out of 100,000. It is now 336. It has gone down by more than 100. Of course, this is still not acceptable, but it's much lower than it was 10 years ago. Maternal mortality is coming down. Then you come to people who are giving birth in the health centers, 73% now. No more, much less delivery at home. Then you come to people, including the women, who are within 5 kilometers from a health center. 91%. 91% of Ugandans today are 5 kilometers or less from a health center. So this is on the side of health. That's why the population is growing. You're talking of the youth. The youth did not come from heaven. They came from a program. If there is any youth who does not consider himself for NRM, he must be having a problem with his head. Without NRM, many of those youth would be, but I'm going to call them Karubuti, the one who died. Many of them would have died in infancy. So, security, element number one. Number two, health. If you talk of women empowerment. If the children are less sick, the woman is helped. Instead of looking after 6 children or losing them, it's much better for her own life, depends on health, but also the health of the children and the health of the other relatives. Then element number 3, education. That's why we introduced universal education. And we want it to be free education. That's what I've been insisting on. You can see now the government schools are full of children now. The numbers have gone up. Now that education, the women have come up because of the limited measures we took. As I speak now, in 2001, the girls, 24%. But today, they are 49.9%, almost 50% of the enrollment in schools. And the literacy rate for women now is 72%. It has gone from 43% in 1986. It is still a bit lower than the men, because the men are now 81%. But this is still good speed. So education. Now, if we could implement free education, completely free, remove the school fees from the government schools, you would see, we would move much faster. And that's what I'm insisting on in this Sanja. But let us implement completely free education, remove the charges from the schools. Then number 4 is what some of you have been talking about, political empowerment. We created these structures deliberately. If you look at Parliament, the big number of the 500 or something MPs, members of Parliament, if we were only to depend on constituency members of Parliament, those who compete with men in the constituency, I think the number now in Parliament, the women constituents are how many? Huh? 23. 26. Out of something like 400. And the constituency MPs are how many? Constituency MPs. Huh? If you are, the constituencies are like 346 or something. 400. Yeah, the constituencies are like 420. Out of those, the women are only 26. If therefore we had taken the old politics, because that's what the politics at independence, all of you compete at the constituency, would be having only 26 women out of 400 something members of Parliament. But I think the constituency MPs are less. There must be like 346. But because of our knowledge of our society, we said no. Okay, you go and compete with the men, but let us also okubegera omwana omuwala. Okubegera is when we are eating on a communal plate. Then the mother puts aside some of the food and says, this is for the children, you the adults don't touch it. That is okubegera. In Luo we say what? Luo. When you put aside food for the children. Huh? Poko. Guoko. Guoko. Guoko me Lotino. Guoko for the Latinos. That's what we did. We said, these seats are for the women. Some of the men are looking at them with greedy eyes. They would like also to. We said for the district, each district, one seat for women, only women. All of you can vote, even the men can vote, but you vote for only women candidates. Now that was Guoko, Okubegera. And then we have to Okubegera, the youth, the workers, the PWD, and recently we even added my constituency. The one of the elders, the one of Mafabi, and also the army. You can see Lieutenant Colonel Lacote, she's there, Susan. That one is a Guokoist. So that political empowerment and these women councils, the women councils, the youth councils, I know you are not paid. It is Wanachewa, but you are, they call it internship. When you go and work somewhere, you are not paid, but you are learning how to be a leader. And if you see some of these ministers and members of parliament, many of them started off, how many of the ministers and started in the youth council, the women council stand up, and the MPs. Now you see. All those started in the other internship. Obwana Chewa, Boa Women Council, Boa Youth Council, Council with Disability. Okay, you are not being paid, but you are being exposed, you are training. You are being trained. So those structures. But these days, I will come to that later. So, political empowerment, structures. Now, what you are celebrating now, when I appoint some of you, Vice President, Prime Minister, now that is in the Church of Uganda, when you go there to be admitted to prepare yourself to go to heaven later, to be baptized, they take water. They don't take milk or porridge, no, water. Water, puts a finger there, put something on your head. I put this sign of the cross. This sign of the cross is an outward sign that you have entered the you have entered into, I don't know what they call it in English, into the congregation or something. So when I appoint a woman vice president, this is akabonero k'okungulu nti abakazi nabo basobola, that women can manage. Doesn't mean that you're all going to sleep in her house, that she's now that she shares her salary with you. No. It is akabonero k'okungulu. It's an outward sign to show that I think that women can also manage, can also do. So that political empowerment, both structurally and symbolically, also helps in terms of shaping views. But the most important, then there is infrastructure. Infrastructure helps everybody, including women. When you have got piped water in the village, you are saving women from going to the well to look for water. When you have electricity, you are saving, or gas, you are saving girls from going to look for the firewood and the boys. All that infrastructure development, much of it is labor saving. And when it is labor saving, it helps everybody, including, and sometimes especially, the girls. Maize mills, instead of the grinding stone, of kid Lego, grinding stones, that can help the milling of cassava, the milling of millet. So infrastructure development, some limited mechanization, the industrialization helps the women by taking away the back-breaking jobs. But the most important empowerment, and that's why I'm very glad that the Minister, Beta Mong, emphasized it, is economic empowerment. And this is what I want you to concentrate on this time. The two channels, the parish development model and the Myoga, will definitely make big changes in society. The parish development model is mainly with agriculture, with crops, livestock, and fisheries. The 100, this year, this financial year, up to June, we sent only 17 million per parish because the financial year had already started. But the financial year of July this year to June next year, we are going to send 100 million per parish. And when I was discussing with the ministers, I used the example of somebody who wants to plant 1 acre of coffee. In an acre of coffee, you need 450 seedlings of Robusta coffee. And when we calculated, I've forgotten the figures exactly, but that time when we calculated, to buy 450 seedlings would require 180,000 shillings. So therefore, I am guiding you, the parish development models, when you are implementing, give each borrower 1 million shillings. Don't give him too little. Give him 1 million so that if he wants to plant coffee seedlings, he will use 180,000 to buy the seedlings, and the remaining 820 to do the other things, dig the holes, do this, bring the mulching, the what, so that he does all that he needs to do. And if you use that example of loans of 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, with 100 million, it means you will cover 100 homesteads in a year. In 4 years, we would have covered 400 homes. Or if we get money in the other coming years, we can add on and we'll give you 200 million instead of 100 million, then we can cover more. Now, many of the parishes have 1,000 homesteads thereabout. But some of them are already catered for under the Operation Rent Creation and so on. Now, that is on the side of parish development model, which is mainly agriculture. But later on, it will link with value addition and so on. But for the Myoga, which are based, a Myoga is one of your local words. Omwoga is a specialization. It is an old word. In the olden days, a blacksmith would be Omwoga, a carpenter would be Omwoga, Omkomazi, the one who were making back cloth, those were Omwoga, and so on. Even the herbalists that would be their Omwoga. Any skill, any specialized skill is called Omwoga. So the Myoga would be at the constituency level. And among the Myoga, we put their leadership. Leadership is also, we put it as a category among the 18. So you, the council leaders, you should borrow money from there. That money is there for you also. As leaders, all leaders are entitled to borrow from that money. The one of the Myoga, of leadership, the 18 of them. Now, as you hear, commercial agriculture is one sector where the women and other people can get empowered. Then you have industry, the small and the big industries. For the villages, you can have the small industries, the maize mills, the oil mills, the milk coolers, the rice hullers, then they can link up with the bigger industries in the towns. Then you have the services, border, hotels, what have you. And then finally, ICT. ICT is mainly for the towns. So therefore, in this Kisanja, I want really all of you to understand this effort, this stimulus of empowering women through economic empowerment. Because once a woman has got her own money, she will no longer be as vulnerable as those who are depending on men for livelihood. And some of the activities don't depend on land, because I know that the women have the problem, they may not be owning land because of the traditional system. But many of these activities don't need land, or they don't need much agricultural land. You can do some of them without running a small hotel, buying produce and selling it, bakery, tailoring. Those don't need a big amount of land. They just need to rent a space and you can start from there. So this is our comprehensive program for socio-economic transformation, including women empowerment. I want Africa, I want Uganda to become a middle-class society with a skilled class society and phase out the peasants. We want the peasants to disappear, not by dying, but by ensuring that a peasant does not produce another peasant. The peasantry should not perpetuate itself. A cattle raider in Karamoja should not produce another cattle raider. A cattle raider should produce a farmer. Or a hotel owner, or a border operator, owner. The sectors are four: commercial agriculture, industry, services, ICT. All of us must join these. We don't want anybody to stay outside these four. Now, I'm dying to meet my daughters, the women councillors. But as you say, the Banyankore say, izuba ryazahire. The day is already tired today. The hours have already gone. And I have other programs tomorrow. So what I propose is that you, Omona, you arrange a day in April. These people come back at my expense, and we have a whole day or 2 days and we meet properly. Now, with this summary, I congratulate the women on this Women's Day, and I wish everybody. No, but before I close, the issue of the parish model. The parish model, all the agricultural operators in the parish will join a parish circle. The Parish Development Council, where your people are, the chairperson of the Women Council is a member, the others are members. That one is a supervisory council. But the controllers are the circle, the people themselves, abari muchintu. The farmers, the cattle keepers, the fishermen in the parish. Now, when the money comes, it will come from finance straight to the circle. It will not go to the cow. It will not go to the county chief. It will come to the account of the circle. of the parish. You need to understand this very clearly. This is a new approach. And it will be you, members of the circle, to decide how you start and from where you buy. But we want you to concentrate on the items which we have shortlisted for you, which is coffee, fruits, dairy, food crop, poultry, piggery, fish farming. Where they have big land, they can grow maize, grow. But for the smaller people, these 7 are the priorities, the ones you should spend the money on. Otherwise, the money will come directly to you. You are the one to buy the seedling yourselves. You are the ones to decide who gets first. It will no longer be government people, it will be you. You, the people, the stakeholders. With these few words, I congratulate everybody and I wish you good luck.
A very big hand of applause to His Excellency the President. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. You have said it all that we really wanted to listen to. And I want to thank you for accepting to give 2 days appointment for the Women Councils in April when you have sufficient time. Your Excellency, allow me at this juncture to invite the Master of Ceremonies of the Chancery to read the medalists, the excellent performers in various disciplines. And I will request you to allow a photograph with them. They are already decorated in a group of only 10, 5 on each side, Your Excellency. Major General George Igumba, please step forward and read the medalists.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and Ma'am, Honorable Janet Museveni, Your Excellency, in the interest of time, I request that you permit me to write on the protocol that you've just gone through. At this year's celebration of the International Women's Day, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda is pleased to award medals, and to do the presentation is me, Major General George Igumba, the Master of Ceremonies for the Chancery, as per Section 141, 1 and 2 of the National Honors and Awards Act of 2001. Now, therefore, in accordance to Section 3, Part 2 of the National Honors and Awards Act of 2001, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda has conferred medals to 32 persons at this year's International Women's Day celebrations. The medals are the 50th National Independence Medal, the Long Service Gold, 30 years plus service, Honorary Medal. The names of the 32 awardees who were duly considered and recommended by the Presidential Awards Committee, of which the Secretary, Hajat Zamina Malore, is in our midst, are categorized as follows. 50th National Independence Medal, 27 of them. The Long Service Medal, Gold, 30 years, 3. And Honorary Medal, 2. The Golden Jubilee Medal. The National Independence Medal is awarded in recognition of outstanding service and loyalty to the country from 9th October 1962 to 9th October 2012. And first on my list, Your Excellency, is none other than Miss Caroline Kego-Lake. Miss Kego is a gender and social development specialist. She has worked with government, civil society, as well as government organizations. She worked on projects for reproductive health, plan for modernization of Agriculture Secretariat, where she promoted the integration of gender concerns and women's empowerment in socio-economic development. The second is none other than Ms. Vanessa Nakate, who is a Ugandan youth of 27 years of age, who is an environment and climate change activist. Through her advocacy, Vanessa has raised awareness among the youth and contributed to the dialogue on the finding solutions to mitigate the effects of climate change in Uganda. She was recognized and invited to participate in the international events, which among others included the United Nations Youth Climate Conference in 2018, the World Economic Forum in Davos, calling on companies, banks, and governments to immediately stop subsidizing fossil fuel, the Desmond Tutu International Peace Lecture, urging world leaders to wake up and recognize climate change as a crisis, tying it to poverty, hunger, disease, conflict, and violence against women and girls. The third is Miss Grace Nachivala. Miss Grace Nachivala is an architect by profession and innovation fellow at Makerere University School of Public Health under the Resilient Africa Network, with a passion for infection prevention and control in both community and occupational health settings. She is the lead innovator of the epitents, which are produced and marketed under the Epitent Company Limited. The epitents are being used for the COVID-19 pandemic and other emergencies. She is also the founder and chief executive officer of Pedotap, a retrofitable, affordable, hands-free, food-operated water dispensing system. The third, Your Excellency, is Miss Florence Bonavana. Miss Bonavana is a lawyer and a professional media practitioner. She worked with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation for many years, where she championed awareness and sensitization of the public on gender equality and women's empowerment through various radio and TV programs promoting recognition of the women in the media. The fifth, Your Excellency, is Miss Nora Njuba Bwaya. Nora Njuba Bwaya became the first woman to be elected as guild president of Makerere University way back in 1987. She completed a Bachelor of Commerce degree from Makerere University, Associate of the Australian Insurance Institute, Certified Professional Coach of the International Coach Academy, Australia, and has just completed a doctorate in executive coaching, Middlesex University, United Kingdom. She contributed to the promotion of women in leadership, mentorship, and motivational speaking to promote women in management and encourage them to take up opportunities in leadership positions. The sixth is Professor Francis A. Miro. May his soul rest in peace. Late Professor Francis A. Miro was born on 2nd of August 1939. He was a graduate from Bombay University in India way back in 1963, postgraduate in obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive medicine at Queen's University, Belfast, United Kingdom. He did his doctorate at Mackay University, where he went on to work for 39 years before retiring to concentrate on HIV vaccine and prevention research, first with the Uganda Case Western Reserve University Research Collaboration, and then Mackay University, Johns Hopkins University. The seventh on the list, Your Excellency, is none other than Miss Mary Musoke. She gains Atlanta bronze medals in all Africa Games and all Africa Senior Table Tennis Championships in 1998, 1999, and 2004, and won gold in the East and Central Africa Table Tennis Championship. The next is Miss Elizabeth Musoke Nora. Miss Musoke is a retired civil servant who served for over 30 years as a gender social development worker. During her career in the public service, she held several positions, first as an administrator and later under the Ministry of Gender as a senior women in development officer. She later worked as a gender specialist at regional levels in Zambia, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, the Gambia, and Kenya. Her contribution to gender included a gender assessment study for the development program in 1996. The ninth is Dr. Ruth Senyonyi. Your Excellency, Dr. Ruth Senyonyi is a professional in the area of human resource management at the Bank of Uganda and a counselor since 2007. She also serves as a member of the Mothers Union in the Anglican Church. In these roles, she has supported families, including women, with psychosocial counseling, training, and mentorship to be able to cope with the challenges of work and family life. Where one would give up, she brought hope in counseling situations. And the 10th in this category is none other than Miss Joan Nalubega. Joan Nalubega is a young innovator who has developed a mosquito repellent organic soap in 2018. The soap, which is used in the prevention of malaria, is produced from lemongrass, a local plant grown in Uganda. Ms. Nalubega was nominated for an international competition. After attending a social entrepreneurship training, Joan was inspired to create a venture that would tackle the disease that she had constantly battled with in her younger years. Joan's company, Union Organics, aims at combating malaria by producing anti-malaria products such as long-lasting mosquito repellent soap for children and families. Protocol. Protocol, please proceed. Your Excellency, next on the list is Miss Beatrice Chelangati, who was born way back in 1972. Ms. Chelangati is a statistician and economist. She devoted her life advocating against female genital mutilation from Kapchorwa. She has also contributed to the establishment of the girls' model schools in Pokot and Sabine regions. She currently serves as the Director General of Registration, Evaluation, Authorization, and Restriction of Chemicals. Next is Ms. Margaret Ntaka Limaze, a gender and women's rights expert who has worked in research, training, and programming to address violence against women and children in Uganda. Next is Professor Henry Kasozi. Professor Henry Kasozi trained in medicine at Besançon University, France, completing with an MD in 1972. Shortly afterwards, he started training Ugandan radiologists at Mulago and introduced mammography and ultrasound imaging in 1988. Next is Mr. Yoas Makaru Ramango, who was born in 1930. May his soul rest in peace. He served in the capacity of the district chairman for more than 15 years. He initiated many developmental projects in the district, among which is the construction of the famous Bushenyi District Administration Block, which started in 1994 and completed in 2001. Next is Kazibwe Prose Rebecca, who was born on 24th November 1975 in Kisirira Village, Nabitambala Village, Busede, Jinja District. She's a resident, she got the Uganda Best Farmers Award 2020 special category and a certificate from Jinja District Local Government as an appreciation for promoting good farming practices. Next is Sister Mary Gabriela Lutwama. She was born on 21st July 1943. She started working as an enrolled nurse in 1962 and later trained as a midwife and was promoted to senior nursing officer. Next is Kateshumbwa Eunice. Kateshumbwa Eunice holds a PhD in sports and gender, Master of Science in Sports Science, in Physical Education, Bachelor of Education in Physical Education and Administration, Diploma in Education for Physical Education and Mathematics. She's working as a lecturer and research supervisor for both graduates and undergraduate students at Chambogo University. Next is Oidu Anne Christine. She was born on 27th July 1963 in Tororo. She has a bachelor's degree in prosthetics and orthotics and a certificate in rehabilitation, a member of the Uganda Girl Guides Association, and a patrol leader. She is now a national trainer, member of the educational committee, and member of training committee. Next is Miss Penina Namasa, may her soul rest in peace, who was born way back in 1958 in Mbale district. She lived with a disability and made a tremendous contribution to the disability movement in Uganda. She served as a leader on the district council as a councillor. Next is Hajat Farida Chibowa, who was born on 11th November 1979 in Bugerere, Kayunga district. She is a businesswoman, commercial farmer, and woman leader, serving as chairperson of the National Women's Council. She established the Farida Chibowa Foundation in Kayunga district in 2019, which is a scholarship scheme for vulnerable female and male children, youth who have dropped out of school, and single mothers to acquire life skills in technical work. Next is the Resistance Officer number 12005, Major Winnie Nabasa. who joined the UPDF on 24th February 2009. Next is Dr. Zinaida Borisova. Your Excellency, Dr. Zinaida Borisova is a Russian by nationality and a resident of the Republic of Uganda, a cardiologist specialist who worked at Bombo General Military Hospital from 2012 to 2021, championing training and mentoring. Prior to this, she served at Mulago Hospital Complex from 2008 to 2012 and at the Heart Institute Mulago up to 2008. During her service record period, she exhibited excellence and exemplary performance, and she is greatly remembered for her distinguished contribution to the establishment and development of the Heart Institute. Next, Your Excellency, is Dr. Konstantin Borisov, also a Russian by nationality, resident in Uganda, and worked in Uganda as an orthopedic surgeon at Mulago Hospital. On top of a busy schedule then, he voluntarily continued to visit Mbuya General Military Hospital as a consultant due to the number of overwhelming orthopedic patients at the height of counterinsurgency then. He later served in the Department of Trauma and Orthopedics at General Military Hospital, Bombo. He rendered protected and contributed significantly and to the field of healthcare, saving many soldiers from being amputated. Next, Your Excellency, is Assistant Superintendent of Police Chiwanuka Sara, who joined the police in 1992 as a learner sergeant nurse and worked in different capacities. She has been outstanding in fighting COVID-19 threats at police headquarters. She is one to call upon to manage emergencies without any reservation. Next is Inspector of Police Nambozo Gladys, who was born in 1980 and joined the police in 2004 as a probationer police constable. She is one of the best female shooters in Uganda Police Force and has represented the force in international competitions like the East African Peacekeeping in Nairobi and secured a silver medal. Next in this category is Inspector of Police Kasabiti Mary, who was born in 1967 and joined the police in 1997 as a nurse and has worked in different capacities. Next is number 46658 Corporal Akelo Stella, who was born in 1989, joined the Uganda Police in 2009 as a probationer police constable. She is the first female navigator in the Uganda Police Marines unit, and she has been influential in the marine patrols at Aviation Police Entebbe, using her expertise in navigation. Your Excellency, I'm done with the Golden Jubilee Medal. Now I have 3 for the long service with good conduct gold for the Uganda Police. And this order is awarded to officers of the Uganda Police Force with long service years with a clean and uninterrupted service to the force. On the list of 3 is Inspector of Police Nakaiza Esther, Inspector of Police Babi David, and number 15840 Corporal Akiding Margaret. The very last category, Your Excellency, is the honorary medal for the police. This order is awarded to civilians who have shown unwavering support to the Uganda Police Force programs in respect of community policing, donations including land, buildings, other logistics, thus making police operations easier while improving the welfare of the Uganda police officers. And on the list, Your Excellency, is Mr. Mugume Moses, Administrator, Kisizi Hospital. Mugume Moses has provided office and accommodation for Kisizi Police Post in Rukunjiri District. And the last but not least, Your Excellency, is Mr. Butamanya Robert from Wedge District, who donated office accommodation in Wedge Police Station. Your Excellency, that marks the end of my presentation. I do thank you for your attention and patience for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Major General George Igumba, the Chancellor of Ceremonies, for taking us through the numerous awards that are well-deserving. I want to take this opportunity to offer this session to the Parade Commander. Parade Commander, please take charge.
You're watching the TV empowering you. A Hit TV, empowering you. You're watching A Hit TV, empowering you. You're watching A Hit TV, empowering.
Mheshimiwa Rais, wote wamesha gwaride. Naomba kutoa bendera uwanjani, Mheshimiwa Rais.
The activity you're watching now is moving the colors, the party colors, and I want to appreciate the party color commander, Captain Manuela Bithum, and Captain Ntono Olivia, Warrant Officer Kiza Safin, Parade RCM. A hand of applause to them for the job well done. They have protected our colors.
gwaride. Naomba kwa gwaride wanjani kama parade commander.
A big hand of applause to Honorable Lieutenant Colonel Susan Lacote, who has been the parade commander. She's marching majestically to the head of state, and then will move off to her respective seat and enjoy the rest of the Women's Day celebration. She has handed over to the 2IC of the parade commander. Please carry on. The parade is marching off right now, and it is under the command of the parade 2IC, Major Juliet Atgonza. At this juncture, as we enjoy the marching off of the parade, we want to thank so much the participants in this parade. We did not see any woman collapse today. Very fit women. So don't joke around with the UPDF. And don't joke around with the women in forces. They mean what they are doing. We want to thank you so much for this very, very important exhibition of your abilities, potential, and capacity. And rhyming with this theme for equality today, for a sustainable tomorrow. We thank you so much for the journey you have moved us this day. Your Excellency, I want to thank the Archbishop and the Mufti for allowing Colonel Dr. Rebecca Nyegenya to take us through prayers today, and Shekat Gadia Namakula to take us through the prayers today. We thank you so much for this. The command of the Defense Forces, the Chief of Staff, the Inspector General of Police, the Inspector General of Government, Commissioner General of Prisons, all the diplomats present, we are so delighted to have been with you throughout this day, and you have always stood with us.
Well, we're still at the Kololo airstrip, or Kololo Independence Grounds, where we're celebrating the 8th of March 2022 worldwide, and known as the International
TV, empowering you.